An age-old philosophy combined with life in the 21st century may seem like an odd pairing, but in his best-selling book, The 1-Minute Sufi, inspirational speaker Azim Jamal applies timeless principles to our modern world. He joins us with tips for living a balanced life the Sufi way. Welcome, Jamal.
Thank you, Marla.
The first thing I'm going to ask you is to explain what being a Sufi or Sufism is. It's not a word a lot of people are familiar with.
Yes, I think Sufi is a mystical path to faith, a spiritual path to faith. And although it stems from Islam in some way, it is very similar in all faiths, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism. And really, you know, the Sufi master, Rumi, says, we're all fellow travelers in the journey of life, and we all face the same seasons of life. So it brings the oneness of people as opposed to division.
So let's talk about some of the philosophy in terms of the journey of life. What is it that we can take away that will help us through the journey of life? Because so many of us get caught up in the details of the daily part of life.
I think, you know, the key message there is that the destiny is in the journey. You know, we try to reach a destiny, but we forget the beauty is in the journey.
Right.
So right now we are speaking to each other, and it's so precious, it's so priceless. That's all that counts.
So
I mean,
really,
yesterday it's history, it's gone, it's never going to come back, and tomorrow, who knows, right?
but so many of us aren't good about that concept of living in the moment. We worry about what's around the corner. So many of us waste what's happening right now because we're focused about what we have to do or where we're going or what's sitting on our shoulders.
Yes. You know, yesterday I took a cab ride, you know, with a driver, and we had 20 minutes of great time. We engaged in a conversation. We talked about the 7 steps to lasting happiness. By the time I finished, he said it was his best ride he ever had. He gave me his address. He wants me to mail him my CD. You know, that's all that counts. I mean, it's an encounter with an individual. It's a beautiful experience, but we got to be there when you're there. Otherwise, we lose out in the beauty of life.
One of the things that you talk about is living your spiritual life as if this was your last day, but living your worldly life as if it would go on forever. So explain that concept to me.
Well, you know, there's a beautiful saying, you know, I think it's attributed to the Prophet, where he says that live your worldly life as if you're going to live forever, and live your spiritual life as if you're going to die tomorrow. And the idea is that, you know, you want to pray that you have enough life to fulfill all your goals, but you want to live each day as if it's your last. If you knew you're going to go tomorrow, what's the day going to be like today? You'll be so present. You'll be so focused. You'll be so energized. Every second is going to count. It's going to be so, you know, long. And if each day is like that, your day really expands. It becomes like 10 years. But right now, 10 years go so quickly, instead of the other way around, right? But that philosophy really helps you to realize that's all you have. And if you look what's happening in the world today, you realize how important every day is.
So many of us right now live in fear, we live in anxiety, there's all types of things going on that really distract us from living in that moment. We worry about our safety, we worry about our health, our financial planning, all of those types of things. You started off in the financial world and eventually abandoned it to become a motivational speaker and doing what you're doing now. How did that happen?
Well, you know, Marla, you see, what I realize is that, you know, like Rumi says again, you can do 100 things in life. But if you don't do this one thing, you wasted your life. What is this one thing you must do? And to find out, you know, what your calling is, and the way to find out is to look back in your life and see when were you doing something that you really lost track of time. You know, what is it that you, when you're dying, what is this one thing that you're going to regret not doing? And I realized it was not accounting.
Right.
And that's how I made my choice, right?
It's very difficult, I think, for a lot of us to grasp that concept. I think all of us want to live our life without regret. I think all of us want to not be able to stop and say, oh, I should have, could have, would have. But I guess, what is that one message that you would give in order not to have that look back and say, oh, if only?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. You know, one is the faith, you know, the faith in the unknown. You see, life is an uncharted territory. You don't know what's going to happen the next second. The bird would never fly in the air if it feared the unbounded skies. So, you know, having that faith allows you that the guts to go and do it, because that's all you have.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
all those words
Thank
of
you.
wisdom.